Hadrian's wall was 80 Roman miles long, and for every mile there was a Milecastle. And today we'll look at one of the most famous, which is Milecastle 42 at Cawfields. It's just an easy 5-minute walk from the car park at the old quarry site, which closed in 1952. Sadly, some of the wall was lost to the quarrying, but thankfully we still have the Milecastle saved for posterity. A short climb takes us up to the top of the hill, now partly lost to the quarry, but from there you get a fantastic view of the Milecastle all the way along Cawfields Crag, and below you can see the straight line of the Vallum, which was the southernmost defensive line on the Hadrian's Wall military zone. When planned in AD 122, the wall was originally designed to be 10 Roman feet wide. However, by this stage of building, possibly to speed things up, the wall was built to 8 Roman feet. When approaching the south gate, the visitor can see just how steep the Milecastle is on the interior. A possible reason for siting the Milecastle here is so that it could see the fortress of Haltwhistle in the distance. The interior is roughly 15 metres by 19 metres. The interior buildings are now long gone, but were probably built of timber. We can date the building of the Milecastle due to a fragmentary inscription found on site which mentions Hadrian and also his governor Aulus Platorius Nepos. We know from ancient texts that Nepos arrived with Hadrian in AD 122 to inspect the line of the wall during its building. This recreation of a Milecastle by English Heritage shows one possible way how the Milecastle would have looked when constructed. If you've seen my previous videos on the wall, have a look at the wing walls just on either side of the Milecastle. Excavators found a cut down tombstone used as a half within the Milecastle. The text tells us the tombstone was set up to Dagvalda of the cohort of Pannonians, erected by his wife Pusina. The stone probably came from the cemetery outside the fort of Isica, just to the west. From the north gate you get a magnificent view of the landscape beyond. Although steep, a thin road would have descended into the valley. At both north and south, the gateway had double doors, and these would have pivoted open at the top and the bottom. You can still see the pivot holes visible in the stone. Although renowned for expert engineering, the Roman builders of the Milecastle had to recut the south gate walls to allow the doors to open fully. Standing just outside the north gates, if you look to the west you can see the flooded remains and car park of Cawfields Quarry. Although much reduced through stone robbing, the walls of Hadrian's Wall here would have stood around about 4 metres high. At the north gate, if the light's right, you can see these interesting lines on the blocks of stone. These are marking outlines left 1900 years after they were placed there by the Roman engineers to help place one block on top of another precisely. So that's a little tour of Milecastle 42. If you've enjoyed this, then maybe we'll meet and tour in person one day.